morning. Well, thank you so much for coming despite the tube strike today. It's a big commitment to make it, so I'm really grateful. We say we can't book the weather here in the UK, and we can't book the undergrounds in London either. But also, as Taoists always do, you live with the chaos. You can't retreat from it, but you live within it and live with it. So thank you very much, and welcome to the inaugural research workshop of Daoism Cinema and Wellbeing project. My name is Kiki Tianqi or Tianqi. I'm reading cinematic art at the Department of Film Studies here at Queen Mary, and I'm also the principal investigator of this project. It's indeed been a very long journey before this project finally being awarded the HRC Catalyst Award. And I feel extremely grateful to all the amazing friends, colleagues, and family who have offered immense support during the past many years. And now with the collaborators, advisors, and more people join the network, including all the speakers today, I'm sure we'll collectively make the project more meaningful to a wider community. This project aims to shift the debate on ecology, cinema, and well-being through the lens of Daoism, decolonizing Western-centric paradigms in film theory and philosophy. It systematically engaged an ancient, vital, yet living non-Western thought, Daoism, with cinema to renew our understanding of moving image, and brings Daoist film philosophy to reshape how we perceive human and modern human relationship, as well as the wellness of all. Constructing Daoist conceptual frameworks and situating film within the broader transcultural art historical lineage, it seeks to expand how we experience cinema and perceive our place in the world through cinema. The project also reviews that Daoism can activate cinema's meditative power, highlighting its healing and restorative capacity in turbulent time. The Daoism has always been a very personal important text for me growing up in China. When I was young, I was drawn to its simplicity and mysterious nature. The Tao that can be named is not eternal Tao. But it was not until 10 years ago that I started reread it, and both consciously and unconsciously, it stays with me while I immerse myself in cinema. From 2013, I spent 4 years living and working in China. Looking back, it's an extremely necessary and very valuable stage of my life, during which my westernized knowledge received in the UK, higher education here, confronts the realities of everyday life in one of the world's centers. Epistemic conflicts occurs everywhere, every day. It was also a time when China has entered a more intensified stage of state-led de-Westernization project, in which China's Marxism and Neuroconfucianism dominate political and cultural discourses. In a country that has experienced tremendous disruption and competing ideologies over the past 2 centuries, my students, many from mainland, other part of Asia, and sometimes Africa and East Europe, and I were constantly negotiating between coloniality and decoloniality, enacting both forms of self-Westernization and de-Westernization. And I have my 2 former colleagues, Paul Glasson and David Fleming here. We were working together at Nottingham, China at the time, so probably they share a similar experience of this. When I returned in the UK in 2017, however, I was immediately confronted with and almost felt suffocated by the dominance of European lineage of knowledge, which left almost no space for non-Western thought to participate meaningfully in public and intellectual debate. And I was very glad at the time to find what Victor has been doing. In the global East and the global South, where Westernized knowledge production and European modernity has played a dominant role, they are not the only available frameworks. However, here in the UK, not only the university system itself has seriously exposed its problems. At the time, and the limited discussion of decolonization and non-Western practices also seemed unable to escape European ecocentrism. In the air, there seems still remained a lingering suspicion towards or kind of lack of serious engagement with other knowledge systems in the study of arts and humanities. And I vividly remember on the train back home from BLOC conference at Kent in 2018, I started reading Michael Poon's book, The Past, A New Way of Thinking About Everything. And their understanding of the ordinary as happiness really stayed with me. And since then, Daoism cinema has been my personal cave where I can retreat to, take breaks while living with constant chaos. When I first started working at Queen Mary in 2019, the project was still at its very infant stage, and I received huge trust from my colleagues, especially Annette Peake, who offered me very valuable feedback on my very first CCOM founding. And the other one was our former colleague, Jenny Masharati, who also offered really useful comments. And developing this project has been offering me a really great opportunity to work with like-minded people. Scholars who helped me a great deal include Chris Barry, my long-term mentor and dear friend, who also introduced me to Vivian Law at UCL, and also Professor Rose Stock at Cambridge University, and I highly recommend his book, Chinese Thought from Confucius to Cook Ting. And this book is very easy to read and really open up what Chinese thought means to you, to us on everyday basis. And our research director here at Queen Mary, including Kira, Adrian, and Janet, has always been very helpful. And also truly thankful to the trust and belief of the current project collaborators. Firstly, Professor Gao Shiqiang, artist. He could not be here today, but he was here a couple of years ago. I have been having conversation with him since 2017. His Mountains Water Moving Image project proved to be a vital intervention on how traditions can continue to be meaningful to contemporary artistic practices. And I thank my colleague, Mario Slogan, who helped me to bring him here in 2023 to showcase his work. Second, Paul Glaston, Inaugural Judith Newsom Chair Professor of Contemporary Art at University of New South Wales. He's also one of our speakers today. Paul's long-term critical theorization on continuity and discontinuity of tradition in contemporary Chinese art has been inspiring and aligned closely with the objectives of this project. And my collaborator also includes Michelle Yu, who's also here. Michelle is the chief editor of ArtZip, a bilingual contemporary art magazine, and also co-founder of Global Culture and Communication and Development based in London. Michelle has very rich experience in organizing exhibitions and working in the art world, and personally she has been my long-term friend for nearly 2 decades. We share many interests and experience, including, very importantly, how to navigate work, passion, and childcare as migrant mothers. And finally, the collaborator also includes beyond awareness from the wellness industries. The research for this project has been conducted between maybe 9 feet, for some it might come soon, and commuter works, and between school runs and conference trips, between class discussions and conversations with friends and families. At Queen Mary, thanks again my head of department, Annette Peake, whose female leadership, generosity, and deep love to everything, every being, make me see light in these turbulent times. And also remind me what Zhuangzi says, equalities of all things. I also thank my colleague Ashwin Devandaran appreciating the opportunity to co-convene our first year core module, Decolonizing Approaches to Film Analysis. Ash remind me that decolonizing is not just a theoretical intervention, but a living attitude. My thanks also goes to Guy Westwood, Lucy Bolton, Libby Saxon, Janet Harbour, Stephen Eastwood for their everyday care and inspiring work. I'm greatly indebted to David Chai from the Chinese University of Hong Kong, our keynote speakers today. While his research is so rigorous, thought-provoking, and illuminating, he's also a very dear friend and who got me through many of my thinking and my doubt on Daoism and Chinese philosophies. And also Victor Fan, a dear friend with whom we presented together at conferences numerous times and continue our conversations on Asian philosophies as methods. Well, Daoism that's a very important, a key part of traditional Chinese thought emerged during the spring and autumn and Warring States period, grounded in correlative and transformative cosmology. Daoism focuses on what David Chai calls ontocosmological rhyme of Tao qua ultimate reality, rather than the human-centric plane of truth. Daoism is inherently ecological, cosmological, aesthetic, spiritual, and phenomenological, making it ideal for understanding cinema. This worldview has also had long-lasting influence on understanding of ecological sensibilities, aesthetics, and well-being in the Sinosphere and East Asia. It has also influenced aesthetic formations globally in a transcultural context. Thus, the first workshop that we're about to have today foregrounds these transcultural philosophical resonances and aesthetic exchange between Daoism and the broader philosophical tradition across Asia, the West, and beyond. Our 8 speakers today from various disciplines and different parts of the world are invited to examine the historical and contemporary networks through which ideas, artistic practices, and cultural forms circulate, so to rethink film ontology, aesthetics, ethics in inherently transcultural and transhistorical as inherently transcultural and transhistorical projects. We'll start today's workshop with a keynote from David Chai, and followed by 3 panels. The first panel focused on the intermediate and transhistorical perspective, with 2 presentations by Paul and myself. Move on in the afternoon, the second panel is on Daoism's global resonance. Here we have 3 speakers: Rob Sten from Birmingham University, Annette Hick here from Mary, and Yuhan Liu from China Chengdu Technology University. And the final panel, very interestingly, we're looking inwards back to China, to the Chinese sphere, on the dialogues between Confucianism, Buddhism, and Daoism, with 2 speakers, Victor and David. Both Victor and David has published intensively on Buddhist film philosophy and Confucian thought as a new approach to film philosophy. The first workshop also marked the launch of CAVE. CAVE is an interdisciplinary research hub here based at Queen Mary, but welcomes collaborations from different individuals and institutions. Together, we hope to advance cinema and visual arts through Asian philosophies to cultivate new ways of seeing, sensing, and relating to the world. We plan to organize more workshops like this and seminars and events in the future, so please do watch this space. This CAVE also part of our film Center of Film Center of Film Ethics at the Department of Film Studies. Last but not least, I will also thank the graphic designer of the project, Ace Xie, and my lovely students, Iris Lee, Wanzhou Xiao, Chloe, Chloe Chen, Guozhou Liu Yue for their kind assistance for today's workshop. Without ado, please let me introduce our keynote today, David Chai. David is a Taoist philosopher and a distinguished scholar in Chinese philosophy, Associate Professor of Philosophy of Chinese University of Hong Kong. He is a series editor of Daoism and Human Experience with Bloomsbury, and has published widely on topics in ancient and medieval Chinese philosophy, comparative philosophy, and aesthetics. He is the author of Zhuangzi and the Becoming of Daoism with Sunni in 2019, and editor of Taoist Encounters with Phenomenology, Thinking Interculturally about Human Existence with Bloomsbury 2020, and Taoist Resonance in Heidegger, Exploring a Forgotten Depth with Bloomsbury 2023, among many, many other inspiring work. Let's welcome David today.